The sun comes up, the light turns on, and the natural world erupts into a new day. Animals wake in burrows, colonies and branches to sing the sun's praises and launch into their daily chores. Off Africa, on the island of Madagascar, lemurs and chameleons, large and minute, face extreme commutes, head off neighborhood disputes, and survive frightening pursuits in the hours from dawn to dusk. In the early hours of a November morning, a lemur stirs. She's waking up, but not from a good night's sleep. In fact, she's nocturnal. This tiny primate is rousing from 6 months of hibernation. Not that winter in tropical Madagascar is particularly cold, but almost no rain falls here in the Karindi forest for half the year. So this fat-tailed dwarf lemur sleeps off the dry season, when the nectar and fruit she eats are in short supply. She's the world's only hibernating primate. Now revived, she gets right to stuffing her tiny face. Her diet goal, a plump rump in just 6 months. Her tail is where she stores the fat she'll need to make it through the next winter. So, eat up, little lemur. Sunrise reveals lemurs everywhere. They only live on Madagascar, and they make the most of every conceivable niche. Their monkey cousins never manage to reach the island, so lemurs have the run of the place. 400 kilometers of open sea separate their home from mainland Africa. A mountain range splits it in two. To the east lie lush rainforests. To the west, an arid rain shadow. Lemurs live on both sides of the divide. Some even live on top of it. But the exposed mountains of the Anya Reserve are cold at dawn. The ring-tailed lemur family that lives up here sunbathe before they do anything else. Even with their thick mountain-adapted fur, they need the sun's warmth to get going. Just like their cold-blooded neighbors. Ah, that's better. Next on the to-do list, breakfast. Here's where it gets a bit tricky. There are only a few scrappy leaves to eat up here, and ringtails rather enjoy insects and fruit. But to get a square meal around here, they need to relocate to the bottom of the mountain. It's one heck of a daily commute. But no one moves without the boss's say-so. In ringtail society, all females outrank the males. But there is one ringtail to rule them all. She's the alpha, the undisputed leader of this family. And she would like a morning drink before they go. Pools of rainwater collect on the impervious granite dome. She has no qualms about making her hungry family wait. In these mountains, what makes a good breakfast is a matter of perspective. While these baby lemurs are eager to try some fruit, a nearby harrier hawk chick is hoping to sample some baby lemur. The alpha leads her troop down the hill. Mother Hawk launches her assault. They can't both be lucky. But it's hard to pick one target as the troop scatters in alarm. And the lemur mothers use the confusion to bring their vulnerable infants to the safety of the trees. With the males bringing up the rear. Mother Hawk goes home with empty talons. Just a few more rock steps to negotiate, and the lemurs will be sitting pretty in a forest of fruit. Most of this family are expert rock climbers. But it is a learned skill. Slow learners don't last long around here. It's barely 9 a.m., but these mountain lemurs have had a full day already, as the alpha leads them to a fig in full fruit. There's enough food for everyone, and she magnanimously allows them all to forage as they please. A proper breakfast, at last. In the eastern rainforests, mornings are a rather more relaxed affair for another group of lemurs. At 9 a.m., this family is only just thinking of making a move. They're Indris, the biggest and most human-like lemur. With their expressive faces and almost no tail. But they're not really morning people. Living under the rainforest canopy, it takes a while before the sun's warming rays reach them. Also, they eat leaves, which in the forest aren't really all that far away. Their territory is small. Mum will lead them on a journey of no more than half a kilometer today. She's in charge of this little nuclear family. Herself and Dad, they're together till death do them part. They have 2 adolescent sons and a baby girl. just 4 months old. Before they do anything else today, there's an important job to get out of the way. They must check in with the neighbors. Dad starts off the morning's round of singing with a throat-clearing roar. Then launches into the melody. Indris are great singers. And soon, the whole family joins in. Except the baby, but she's watching and learning. The song is unique to this family. Soon enough, the neighbors respond. Indris are experts at conflict avoidance. As long as each family knows where their neighbors are, they can steer clear of each other. Now, about those leaves. Well, what do you know? There's some right here. Perhaps this is the worst morning commute in Madagascar. The Ankarana Plateau at the northern tip is an ancient reef thrust up out of the ocean. Millennia of rain have carved its limestone into a sea of serrated ridges called Singhi. No one in their right mind crosses the Singhi. But then again, what predator is going to follow you across a cutlery drawer full of upturned knives? That's what this crowned lemur is thinking. Sure, there are a few drawbacks. Notably that getting food and water means crossing those serrated ridges herself. On the plus side, there are no other lemurs here. Crowned lemurs are the only ones that pull this off. She has thick leathery pads on her hands and feet to cope with the sharp rocks. Even so, care and skill are of the essence. It's even harder with a baby dangling from your belly. Older kids ride on top, learning the tricks of the trade by watching the adults. Plenty of time. There's still a long way to go. Parsons' chameleon, on the other hand, has no commute to speak of. He pretty much works from home. The chameleon heavyweight champion has spent the morning warming up his 700-gram frame in the rainforests of Mantadia. Now he's ready for action, which in his case is fairly minimal. He rarely leaves this tree. Why bother? His main prey, insects, come to him. The trick is to get close enough on narrow branches. He needs to get within a couple of body lengths. His fused toes form clawed mittens. Which give him a vice-like grip. The other important trick is not to be seen himself. He's not only a predator, but also potential prey for snakes or large birds. He keeps one eye out for lunch and one out for danger. They work completely independently. One eye spots a meal. That's enough for him to calculate its distance. He lines up his head for the strike. Slowly, don't want to spook lunch. The second eye locks on, and he confirms his range finding. His calculations are spot on. He shoots his long tongue out the right distance every time. He's living the good life. He's barely moved a meter all day and has no plans to move much further. By mid-morning, the Anya ringtails have moved on to a favorite source of fresh fruit at the base of their mountain hideout. China berries are an introduced species. The fruit can be lethal to humans. But these highly adaptable lemurs have taken to it with gusto. And apparently, no ill effects. Ringtails are more comfortable on the ground than any other lemur. Which is where they find a windfall of sugary, overripe fruit. A big meal on a hot day equals nap time. Closing in on midday, it's too hot to do anything else. For the grown-ups. The kids, however, are like kids the world over. They find it hard to sit still for long. No matter how much their tired mothers might like them to. Fortunately, there are lots of competent grown-ups to help out. If Mum starts to lose the plot a little. The whole troop contributes something to the parenting. At last, Mum can take a little cat nap. The older kids won't breed for another couple of years. This is their time for figuring out the social niceties through play. It'll be a steep learning curve for the boys especially. Once they leave their mother's sides, they'll be at the bottom of the pecking order. These carefree times are precious, but short-lived. To the east of the mountains, in the coastal band of rainforest, the family of Indries are at their busiest around midday. Now they've eaten the best leaves, it's time to move on. But the ground is lava, and they don't want to touch it. No need to. Indries can really move when they want to. They can leap 10-meter gaps in the canopy in a single bound. Today, the female wants to check out the trees at the other end of their territory, which they can cross in just a few minutes. Soon, they're munching fresh young leaves in the canopy. Well, some of them are. Peaceful as this family is, like most lemur groups, it's still a matriarchy. The female decides who feeds where. She allows her still-growing adolescent sons into the canopy. But Dad must stay lower down where the leaves are not as juicy and nutritious. It's quite practical, really. He's not fast-growing, not providing milk for an infant, and he's not the one who has to carry the baby everywhere they go. Though at the moment, the little girl is keen to climb off Mum's back and try standing on her own 2 feet. As well as holding on with her own 2 hands. She's also experimenting with solid foods. Not bad, but she'll keep nursing for another half year while she memorizes nearly 80 kinds of edible plant. She'll also have to learn that leaves take a lot of digesting, and that a midday nap is good for that. High noon reveals another reason to avoid the Ankarana Plateau. The sun beats down on the parched limestone. The crowned lemurs have taken cover in what little shade there is. The rocks are heating up like a stovetop. They need to get out of here and find a source of water. A dash across one last knife edge of limestone. Finally leads them to a deep canyon with forest and water. Refuge from the relentless sun, at last. Water and tectonic forces combine to cut these deep chasms into the limestone. And hidden onto the rock, massive cave systems. Sculpted by subterranean rivers. Dawn and dusk lose their meaning underground. But roosting bats know what time it is. It's time to stay safe and cool indoors. Generations have worn hollows in the ceiling and dumped piles of guano on the floor, attracting small critters that love to eat it, and those who love to eat them. The floor writhes with scorpions. And worse. This is one of the only places in the world where crocodiles live in caves. As yet, we know very little about their lives. It's a steady 25 degrees inside. The reptiles seem to prefer that to the brutal heat beyond the cave. But unless every drop of water outside dries up, the crowned lemurs aren't fool enough to take up spelunking, no matter how hot it gets. Midday is especially hard in the dry forests of the island's desiccated west coast. This early in the season, the rains here are unreliable. Daily life revolves around strategic waterholes, where everyone comes to slake their thirst or look for a snack. Gray-headed lovebirds sip from the water's edge, counting on those at the back of the queue to keep an eye out for danger. There's always a hawk looking for an easy meal. A crested drongo plays it safe, grabbing a drink on the wing. The local brown lemurs are as wary as they are thirsty. Waterholes are the classic hunting spot for apex predators. Madagascar's top cat isn't a cat, nor is he an overgrown mongoose, though they share a common ancestor. But that was 20 million years ago. He's a fossa, unique to this island, and free from any competitors. More than half his diet is lemur. But he won't catch them while they're on high alert. He's just here for a drink, like everybody else. It's far too hot for hunting now, anyway. Perhaps a late lemur lunch today. Further south, the rain shadow is at its most severe. This landscape goes by the uninviting name of spiny forest. The octopus trees have made new leaves, which they guard with vicious spines. This is what passes for a time of plenty around here. It's enough to make some feel frisky. The spider tortoise has been searching for a mate. But by midday, he's racing his own body clock. The sand is too hot, even for cold-blooded reptiles. He hightails it to a meager patch of shade to avoid fatal overheating. A pair of Sakalava weaver birds at least have a little breeze up in the trees. This male has donned his breeding plumage and is busily fixing up a nest. The rains here are so short-lived and unpredictable, there's no time to waste, despite the midday heat. His partner provides some creature comforts to line their home. Most of the colony's nests are still empty, however. This early nesting pair are gambling that the season will deliver rain soon, and that insects will be plentiful when their eggs hatch. But it's not looking much like rain out here today. Things are different on the other side of the mountain. A revitalizing afternoon shower is on its way. Warm, wet air, blowing in from over the sea, drops its water on the eastern side. It only lasts a little while. But today's rainfall is just the latest in a dependable pattern that will continue for months to come. The lush, dense rainforests are testament to that. These salubrious conditions are why 60% of Madagascar's wildlife lives here, including the smallest. In the rainforest, nothing goes to waste. The forest floor is the domain of nature's recyclers. But there are tiny hunters here too. Fully functional mini chameleons. Life can be a bit of a struggle when you're in danger of being run over by a snail. That was almost a close call. It's off, stalking the uneven terrain using the prehensile tip of its tail as a walking stick. Food is plentiful down here. The brown leaf chameleon's cunning disguise keeps it safe from its own predators. As long as it stays in the leaf litter. Unlike most chameleons, it can't turn green. up in the branches above. The big boys have a much fuller color palette at their disposal. This male panther chameleon makes no attempt at blending into the background. Chameleon colors are often about communicating a state of mind. And this one's seeing red. Another male has invaded his tree. There's a reason he shouts in colors. Chameleons are practically deaf. But it would be hard for the interloper to miss this signal. He reads it loud and clear. Going dark is chameleon speak for I surrender. For good measure, he cowers submissively. Normally, this is where these fights end. But the power seems to have gone to the big male's head. Striking the colors is not enough for him. He wants to see the loser run. Run being a relative term. As the midday heat starts to taper off, many lemurs resume their foraging. The warm, wet forest is an ideal environment for giant bamboo. And because this is Madagascar, there's a lemur here exploiting it. Bamboo lemurs spend most of the day eating. Bamboo is not very nutritious, and it's pretty much the only thing they eat. This afternoon, they're snacking on the fresh growth that comes with the start of the rainy season. Those fresh shoots are the very bits the bamboo most wants to protect from foragers, which it does by loading them with enough cyanide to kill a lemur 12 times over. And yet, the bamboo lemurs stubbornly refuse to die. They'll just pee the cyanide out later. How they've outwitted the poison is a bona fide scientific mystery. But the lemurs are winning their evolutionary arms race with the bamboo. Back on the drier western side, the fossa feels much revived after his 3-hour siesta. He has no real circadian rhythm. He's simply active when he feels like it, day or night. But the brown lemurs he was contemplating for lunch are long gone. No problem. In Madagascar, lemurs are like buses. Another one will be along soon. A sifaka. The fossa is the only predator big enough to bring one down. Not that they're easy prey. The sifaka is agile and fast in the trees. But so is he. Fossas are expert arboreal hunters. Like the sifaka, he sports a tail nearly as long as his body for balance. But few creatures jump as well as a sifaka. With a 10-meter leap into a neighboring tree, the sifaka gives him the slip. Just have to wait for the next one. Might as well rest up. The Ungya ring-tailed lemurs have one last item to tick off before they head home for the evening. The alpha leads them to a muddy, rock-strewn field with little obvious appeal. This is what she's after. Rocky mineral licks to supplement their fruity diet. With a healthy side of mud. It may be an aid to digestion, or perhaps it helps to neutralize the toxins in their diet. It's certainly a popular condiment. When everyone has had their fill, the alpha rounds up her troops. It's time to start their long commute back up the mountain. She wants to be home, safe, before dusk. But the best laid plans crumble in the face of desert. Halfway up the mountain, one of her sisters has discovered a mistletoe cactus in full fruit. Cacti naturally belong in the Americas, with this rare exception. This is no introduced weed, but a genuine homegrown delicacy that generations of mountain lemurs have enjoyed. The females waste no time in showing the young ones the technique. It's more abseiling than rock climbing. This youngster is getting the hang of it already. That hit the spot. But now it really is time to head home. As the sun starts to sink lower in the sky, the temperature on the mountain quickly starts to drop. The family members find sheltered crags in which to hunker down for the coming night. Down below in the East Coast rainforests, one animal has been doing nothing but hunkering down. They're elusive recluses. Animals so cryptic you could look right at one and never know it. They're leaf-tailed geckos, and for now, they're keeping their heads down. That's what they've been doing all day. At 30 centimeters, they're not small lizards, yet they're almost invisible. They've matched their colors to the trees they rest on. Ragged, frilly skin further breaks up their outline. While they wait for dusk to go hunting. But this Phandrophila snake is on the prowl right now. And he's not just a visual hunter. This motionless gecko is a sitting duck. As the snake homes in on its scent. The gecko, though, has options. It's alert for danger. It could wave its tail as a distraction. It could suddenly rear up aggressively as the snake gets closer. But with a venomous predator like this, the best option might just be a hasty retreat. As the sun finally sets, it's the gecko's turn to hunt. Pupils fully dilated, its massive eyes see all in the darkened jungle. As long as they're kept clean. A caterpillar. Now who's the sitting duck? There's an even weirder presence haunting the rainforest of Dusk. He's been called a tarsier, and a squirrel, and an evil spirit. None of these is accurate. DNA finally convinced scientists that he is yet another lemur. He's an aye-aye, the closest relative of the ancestral lemur that washed up on the island millions of years ago. With those massive ears, there's something of the bat about him too. He uses them to detect hidden prey. He does it by drumming. Tap, tap, tapping a branch. And listening to the sound it makes. Sounds hollow. That means there's something in there. Once he has a hole big enough, he reaches in with his long, bony middle finger and extracts his prize. A beetle grub. He'll travel 4 kilometers through the forest tonight, drumming up meals until first light, when he'll hand the island back over to his day shift cousins.
The sun comes up, the light turns on, and the natural world erupts into a new day. Animals wake in burrows, colonies, and branches to sing the sun's praises and launch into their daily chores. On the fabled sands of Arabia, they answer to one true king, the merciless golden orb in the sky. Those that survive here must bow to his command, withstand his fury until the monsoons bring relief. All the daily dramas of their lives unfold in the hours from dawn to dusk. Just before dawn in late July, on a remote beach in Oman, ghost crabs wait in anticipation. Like expectant fathers outside a labor room, these crabs look forward to the miracle of new life. Except, this newborn isn't one of theirs. And these crabs aren't really the fatherly type. Turtle hatchlings. Instinctively, they head for the moonlit waves. But between them and the water are the expectant crabs. For predators that usually prey on small insects and bits of vegetation, this hatching frenzy is a windfall. They must make the most of it. The stream of hatchlings is plentiful. But overpowering wriggly turtles isn't that easy. The less successful crabs get impatient, and brawls break out. This turtle is an unwilling third wheel in this crab tango. While the ravenous crabs fight, a lucky few break free from this dance of death. These young escapees hold the key to the future of their species. Survive their first few years, and they can return to these very shores to breed. Dawn reveals no trace of the carnage on this Omani coast. From this moment on, the challenge from the sun will intensify with each passing second. Testing times lie ahead for every single resident of the Arabian Peninsula. Home to 7 countries, this is the largest peninsula in the world. It juts out into the Arabian Sea between the Persian Gulf and the Red Sea. Almost 90% of the peninsula is parched desert. The Rub al-Khali is its arid heart, the largest continuous body of sand in the world. A few hours into the morning, it has already begun to swelter. The dunes look empty, but the sand is a canvas for the stories of the night past. The dhub lizard knows that the best place to be in the desert is under it.
His subterranean bunker is 10 degrees cooler than it is above ground. But an empty stomach will force him outdoors. Outside, the sand is hot, and the air is heavy. Before the dhub can head off to find food, he must first warm up. Dark skin soaks up the heat from the sun's rays. At surface temperatures of over 40 degrees, minutes are all he needs. It's all too easy to go from warmed up to overheating. Not to worry, he's got this covered. Imperceptibly, his dark skin begins to change color. Until his new light skin reflects the sun's rays and matches the sand, which helps him blend in. Now, he's ready to take on the desert. Only the toughest, most specially adapted species can survive here. Case in point, the dromedary camel. For one of the most energy-efficient animals on the planet, surface temperatures of over 45 degrees are no big deal. No food around. No water for hundreds of kilometers. No sweat. Seriously, dromedaries don't sweat. That would be a waste of water. Doesn't seem like it. But this camel is hard at work. Each second, she breaks down fat stored in her hump into life-giving energy. And there's a lot more in store. Almost 35 kilograms of it. Which means she doesn't need to stop for a bite to eat for a whole week. But like any parent knows, when you bring kids along, pit stops are a must. The youngsters don't yet have the necessary fat reserves. So for their sake, the herd must find food. There's one place on the Arabian peninsula where the going is slightly easier. 800 kilometers south of the Rub al-Khali, the Dhofar mountain ranges defy the stereotype. The camels here live in the cool lap of luxury. More than 2,000 meters up, they don't have to contend with blistering heat. Because July mornings like this are special. Today, the highlands trap moisture-laden monsoon clouds. The result? A verdant summer retreat with nutritious food for its residents. Like this orb weaver spider. She starts her day early.
Job number 1. Lay her trap. Her insect prey is most active early in the day. And when they come, she must be ready. There's ample food here. But there are also plenty of predators that would eat her too. An Arabian chameleon. He'd love an orb weaver or two for breakfast. His multi-directional eyes scan the foliage. But it's barely 22 degrees in the mid-morning. Reptile muscles don't work very well in the chill. But this is not just any reptile. He's a master assassin who needs just one muscle group in his body to work perfectly. That one. Accelerator muscles convert stored energy to fire his sticky tongue faster than a jet plane. Even in the cold. While other reptiles are still warming up, he's finished his first course. For the unfortunate orb weavers, the day ends early. "10 a.m. and a monsoon mist still clings on. It hides the rocky crags, where an ancient enigma is only just beginning to stir. A relative of the African elephant. Rock hyrax. They hate cold mornings. When the mist rolls in, they love nothing more than to sleep in. Being a primitive mammal, they function a bit like old cars on a cold morning. Their bodies have trouble starting, and there's only one way they can charge their batteries. Solar power. An hour later, the air temperature creeps past 25 degrees. Yep. That's warm enough. Time for brunch. Abyssinian myrrh is a hyrax favorite. They've already eaten all the easy-to-reach leaves. The ones that remain are really hard to get to. Rubbery, clawless feet are great for gripping onto rocks. But for climbing trees, not so much. A motley crowd watches intently. These little hyraxes are just days old. Mother's milk is still #1 for these pups. But while mums get their own nutrition, curious pups follow their every move. How about a taste of those leaves? This little lightweight is doing better than its parent.
Perhaps mother's milk isn't such a bad idea after all. In contrast to the cool Dhofar ranges, the Al-Hejjar Mountains on the peninsula's eastern side bake under the mid-morning sun. The landscape seems bereft of life, like the surface of a desolate planet. But these valleys are a sprawling bachelor pad. The owner? A forlorn male Arabian tar. All he wants is a bit of sugar to spice up his lonely existence. But there are fewer than 2,500 tar left out here, which makes for a pretty shallow dating pool. However, this tar has something that many of his rivals don't. His territory includes deep canyons called wadi. And crucially, water. On a searing summer's day like today, it's a lifeline for insects, birds, reptiles, and most importantly, female tar. But none have shown up yet. Having a private backyard pool in a desert makes this male a goat of good standing. But to attract a female, he must get creative. He won't leave any room for doubt. This is his territory. He smears secretions from his chest onto everything in sight. Profile posted. Now he'll wait for Miss Right to swipe right. As the sun continues its climb towards the highest point in the Arabian sky, the heat turns hellish. Even the desert island of Masira, 20 kilometers off the mainland, crackles at 32 degrees. Dangerous levels for some, but a godsend for others. The hot ground makes it easy for Egyptian vultures to drift in thermal updrafts. From up here, their powerful eyes scan over a wide area. Other vultures in the distance. It's a telltale sign. Jackpot. The dead goat is a lifesaver. In a desert, easy meals have many takers and are hotly contested. This scrubby brown individual is an adolescent. Not a helpless chick, but not quite an adult either. Vulture social hierarchy dictates that youngsters like him feed last. If these ivory white adults leave anything behind, that is.
No part of this putrefying goat is a step too far for these guys. Their stomach acids are powerful enough to dissolve metal. By the time the youngsters finally get a look in, all that's left is smelly, rotting offal. Or as Egyptian vultures call it, dessert. Smack dab in the middle of the Arabian desert, 1,000 kilometers away from Masira, lives an animal more suited to desert life than a camel. The Arabian oryx. It's been weeks since this herd's seen water. The only moisture they get comes from meager desert shrubs. The breeze carries a delectable scent. Which tells this bull that today is a special day. It's raining. Just not here. But over 160 kilometers away. The bull knows that this brief downpour could very well be it for the entire year. He must lead his thirsty herd straight to it. They'll never cover the distance in time to catch the rain itself. It's more about what the rain will bring. The deluge will support nutritious plants, natural reservoirs that absorb and store moisture. They can make it just in time for the fresh plant growth, if they get a move on now. With the sun directly overhead, the heart of Arabia sizzles at 50 degrees. But in the Gulf of Oman, the water temperature is just fine. The midday sunlight penetrates deep beneath the waves. To light up the hottest coral reef on the planet. Down here, it's perfect weather for love. This male pharaoh cuttlefish woos a female. And time is ticking. The stakes are high. Today could be his last chance to fulfill his life's mission and pass on his genes. First, he must convince her that his genes are the ones she wants. She plays hard to get. He calmly persists. But when you're a cuttlefish, emotions are just skin deep. His intentions are clear. But she doesn't reciprocate. Rejection received. He turns off the color. Which seems to turn her on. They mate in a face-to-face embrace. holds her in his tentacles and inserts a bundle of sperm in a cavity near her mouth. Job done. Well, not quite. If a more attractive male should come by, the female could decide to mate with the newcomer and use his sperm instead. The only thing that he can do is guard his girl and make sure no one breaks up this party of two. In the Rub al Khali Desert, even the mighty oryx herd starts to flag in the afternoon heat. They're still over 100 kilometers away from fresh pasture. But the afternoon heat is so intense that even they must stop. Each passing second, the sun saps the strength of the herd's younger members. They rest in what little shade they can find. But the desert isn't the only thing heating up. It's their leader. The bull is trotting hot. The intoxicating scent of fertile urine has him all aquiver. One of the females in his harem is in heat. Is it this one? No. Maybe her. Look away, kid. The bull must make sure of it. But he's not the only one to pick up the scent of the female. A young loner. He has no herd of his own, and he'd very much like to acquire the old male's entourage. Could this be his lucky day? This calls for an epic battle. Well, not really. The desert is just too darn hot for vulgar displays of power and rage. Yeah, that's enough of that. The old bull will keep his harem for now. At the southern margins of the Rub al Khali, the sandy desert gives way to a harder, pebbly one. But the relentless heat remains the same. It immobilizes yet another desert resident. The sand cat. He might look like a domestic tabby, but this desert specialist has the strongest bite of all cats with respect to body size. But even the best can be off his game. He prefers to hunt in the dark, but he's come up short the past several nights. Now he's too ravenous to sleep. He knows that leaving the shade of the bush into the scorching afternoon sun is to court death. But like a house cat, he just can't resist the temptation to chase. What monstrosity dares to brave this heat? A venomous viper? A giant monitor lizard? It's a sandfish. Sandcat loves sandfish. The little lizard has his full attention. Super short legs, squat fat body, no way to fight back. A cinch, surely. He stays off the open sand, so the vibrations from his footsteps won't reach sandfish's fine-tuned ears. The little lizard is still oblivious to the impending danger. He also shouldn't be out in this heat, but the smell of his favorite prey is too tempting. A potentially grave mistake. It's not called sandfish for nothing. Today, only hunger wins. Sandcat hunkers down because he senses change in the air. In the early afternoon, the sizzling ground generates turbulence in the air above. A perfect recipe for a sandstorm. Millions of tons of dust and sand blow across the Arabian peninsula. Only the toughest can withstand this onslaught. It's too late to duck for cover. Winds of over 50 kilometers per hour whip up sharp sand particles that can permanently damage eyes. But the camel's long eyelashes manage to keep them out. Elongated nostrils lined with hair close to stop dust from entering her nasal cavity. Experience tells the family that this storm won't last long. Eventually, the dust settles on an unexpected gift. Leaves that were once too high are now within easy reach of the whole family. A tree this size will help replenish their fat reserves and prepare them for whatever the desert throws at them next. Out in the Gulf of Oman, the afternoon water temperature is still pleasant. But the competition for the female cuttlefish's attention is really heating up. Her pheromones have drawn in a new pharaoh vying for a queen, much to the annoyance of the current monarch. His queen can be fickle. If she fancies the usurper, she'll mate with him and use his sperm to fertilize her eggs instead. So he stays close. Really close. To keep the challenger at bay. It seems to be working. While the males muscle in, a smaller female hovers off to the side, observing the commotion. The rival males ignore her. But what they don't know is that she is a he, a sneaker male. Too small to challenge the larger males, he's become a shapeshifter. He assumes the mottled color of a female to approach unnoticed. But the big male senses a rat. His body darkens in response. The tiny challenger inches closer. Not today, Sneaker. The female finally lays her eggs, all fertilized by the resident male. Or so he hopes. He's done all he can to ensure it, but he has no way of knowing for sure. Today marks the end of their life mission. They haven't fed at all while courting, and they never will again. While their offspring develop in the eggs, the parents wait for death. At the Al-Hijjar Wadi, the afternoon heat is slightly more bearable, but that's scant consolation for the Arabian tar. Still no females. But he's still determined to be ready. The tar's secret reservoir might not have worked out for him yet, but he's not the only one who relies on its riches. The hard wadi bedrock holds on to what little rain falls here. Less than 15 centimeters in an entire year. The last place on Earth that you'd expect a resident population of fish. Gara gather in the last deep pools around. Late afternoon, and the water in the shallower pools reaches 35 degrees. That would be curtains for any normal fish. But Gara are anything but normal. They can withstand temperatures ranging from 0 to 40 degrees and stay alive in 2-centimeter deep pools of water. Here, they'll hold on for salvation. The land is now almost 15 degrees hotter than the sea, which creates a sea breeze that hits the mountain barrier. At long last, rain, a few kilometers away. Soon the water makes it down into the valleys, giving the Gara a new lease on life. They've been preparing for this moment all their lives. Because today is their big chance to go forth, mingle, and multiply. As the smaller streams converge to form rapids and miniature waterfalls, the flowing water becomes a temporary highway, which connects disjointed pools where other Gara live. Giving them a rare opportunity to refresh their gene pool. Their destination is just a few meters away. But for the tiny fish, these molehills are mountains. Finally, they make it. New feeding grounds, new connections, and an opportunity to expand and colonize new parts of the wadi. Higher upstream, the sex-starved male tar has finally had some luck. A female has called in. She's had a drink in his pool All she wants to do now is chill out in the shade. But this billy goat is not about to let her relax without seeing what he's made of. Round one. Pawing the ground, he spreads his smelly chest secretions around. Nah. All right, step it up a notch. Round two. How about a prance? Round three. Get closer and smear everything in sight with its sensual eau de goat. Still no luck. And now for the pièce de résistance. Nothing says I want you quite like coating yourself with urine and dust. If his goat cologne doesn't convince her, nothing will. And nothing it is. Sometimes you can have it all, but not all at once. By 5 p.m., the sun has begun its descent. For the children of the night, it's time to get ready. This horned viper could do with a kill tonight. He hasn't fed in weeks. For the cold-blooded, a few weeks between meals isn't make or break. But as any desert dweller knows, he must be ready when opportunity strikes. The last rays of the sun warm him up so that he's primed for action in the cooler darkness. Here, he'll wait. The Wadi Dusk air is livelier than usual. This is the soulful love song of the male Arabian toad. Hopefully, a female listening out there will think it's beautiful. But he's got competition. Other hopefuls are singing to the same tune. All he can do is inflate his throat pouch more so that his song amplifies and reaches farther. Finally, an opening. He must jump on it. She's perfect. Full-figured, delicate, slimy skin, and those legs, muscly. Strong enough to lift him clean. Just the way he likes it. And what about that beautiful throat pouch? Wait a minute. Only males have a throat pouch. His girl is a guy. But he can't shake the urge. And the other male can't shake him. An hour later, his love goggles are beginning to come off. His reluctant partner has not produced any eggs for him to fertilize. Perhaps It's time to end this bromance. At the Rubal Khali, wisps of monsoon cloud blot out the moon. It provides cover for the cheeseman's gerbil. This is the moment that he's been waiting for. Darkness is best for exploring. His arch-enemies can't see as well in the dark, giving the little rodent an advantage. A fast metabolism means that he must find a lot of food, and quick, because the cloud cover will not last long. His keen ears sense danger. A hooded Malpolon snake is getting ready for dinner with a bit of grooming. She rubs her body with a fatty secretion from her nasal glands. A kind of moisturizer that helps her retain water in the warm desert air. In his earnest quest for food, the gerbil has strayed away from his burrow. Perhaps he should make a break for it. Too late. The snake knows something's up. The gerbil freezes. The Malpolon hunts by sight. The rodent flinches, but the snake still can't pick him out in the gloom. Unlike many other snakes, the Malpolon can't sense the heat radiating from him either. She knows there's something in the bushes, but she's lost the element of surprise. A lucky break. Saved by the clouds. And not a moment too soon. He'll head back to the safety of his burrow. A sliver of moonlight is all the horned viper needs. His patient vigil finally pays off. The potent neurotoxin in his venom acts quickly. Tonight, the horned viper can feast for the first time in weeks. Dusk brings relief to Arabia. Albeit only fleetingly. Tomorrow, the creatures of the Arabian Peninsula will once again face off with their fiery lord and master in the sky.